if I told you one playful joke on American television and one explosive chart domination in Korea just proved that BTS isn't simply back, they're untouchable? Because in the span of just days, BTS didn't just make noise, they reminded the entire world exactly who they are. And somehow, in the middle of a massive comeback, one of the most talked about moments wasn't just about records, trophies, or album sales. It was about Jimin and Jimmy Fallon. Yes, that duo. And honestly, fans cannot stop talking about it. Because when BTS appeared on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon after releasing their new full-length album Arirang, it wasn't just another late-night appearance. It felt like a reunion, a celebration, and in some ways, a full-circle moment. From the second the members walked onto that stage, the energy was already electric. But then Jimmy Fallon did what only Jimmy Fallon would do. He immediately zeroed in on Jimin. And if you know anything about this ongoing little tradition between them, you already know what happened next. Jimmy once again couldn't resist bringing up the fact that Jimmy and Jimin sound hilariously similar. And the audience? They absolutely loved it. The reaction in the studio was instant. Laughter, cheers, pure excitement. Because this wasn't random. This has become part of their charm, part of their chemistry. Part of this now iconic little bond fans have watched grow over the years. And what made it even better is that major US media outlets noticed it too. Even People highlighted the reunion, pointing out that Fallon and BTS were back together after more than 4 years, including Jimin, his so-called almost named twin. And honestly, that phrase alone perfectly captures the vibe. Because what fans were watching wasn't stiff or overly scripted. It felt natural, warm, playful, like two people who genuinely enjoy sharing the same space. And if you followed BTS for a while, you know this connection didn't appear overnight. Jimmy Fallon has made it no secret for years that he has a soft spot for Jimin, a very obvious one, a very consistent one. And fans have never let him live it down. But that's exactly why this latest appearance hit differently, because it brought back memories. Especially that palm touch moment from Jimin's 2023 appearance, the one fans instantly remembered the second they saw them together again. That tiny interaction became one of those unforgettable fan favorite moments. And now, seeing that same chemistry return in 2026, it felt nostalgic, like BTS had come back not only bigger, but with the same heart that made people fall for them in the first place. And Jimin didn't just charm viewers through banter. He also did what Jimin always does best. He stepped on stage and completely transformed the atmosphere. Because while the jokes and Fallon moments were adorable, the performance reminded everyone exactly why Jimin continues to leave such a lasting impact. His performance of Swim wasn't just visually beautiful, it was magnetic, fluid, precise, elegant in a way only Jimin can deliver, and yet at the same time, incredibly controlled. There's always this fascinating contrast when he performs, like he's floating and razor sharp at the same time, soft and powerful, delicate and dangerous. And that's exactly what fans saw again when he performed in New York's Guggenheim Museum, one of the most iconic spaces in modern and contemporary art. And honestly, what a fitting stage for Jimin, because watching him dance there almost made it feel like performance art. Not just choreography, not just promotion, but something immersive, something emotional, something that stays in your head after it's over. And that's what makes this era feel so different. Because yes, BTS is back with a new album. Yes, the stages are huge. Yes, the media attention is global. But underneath all of that, there's something deeper happening. This comeback feels personal. And that's where Arirang comes in. Because while fans were busy replaying Jimin and Jimmy's adorable interactions, BTS was also quietly doing something much bigger behind the scenes. They were absolutely dominating the charts. And I mean dominating. Because according to the latest Circle chart results, BTS didn't just win one category, they didn't just win two. They walked away with 5 awards in a single week. 5. That's not just impressive, that's a statement. A very loud one. Their 5th studio album, Arirang, took no. 1 on the album chart with a jaw-dropping 3,910 copies sold. Then it also claimed number 1 on the retail album chart with 900,935 retail sales. And if that wasn't enough, the title track Swim also took number 1 on both the download chart and the V coloring chart. And then, just to make sure there was no room for debate, BTS also grabbed number 1 on the social chart 3.0. So let's be clear here. This wasn't just a successful release. This was a full-scale takeover. And the numbers get even crazier, because when you combine all versions of Arirang, CD, Weverse, and LP, the total sales within the album chart top 100 reportedly climbed to over 4.27 million copies. That's not just good. That's elite. That's the kind of figure that reminds everyone that BTS operates on a level most artists can't even realistically compare to. And what makes it even more powerful is the meaning behind the album itself. Because Arirang isn't just a commercial project. It's an album centered on BTS's identity and the universal emotions people encounter throughout life. And honestly, that might be the biggest reason it's hitting so hard. Because BTS has always been at their most powerful when they aren't just performing songs. They're reflecting emotions people can't always explain on their own. They don't just release music. They release eras people live inside. And that's exactly what this feels like. An era. A very intentional one. A very emotional one. And one that's already producing huge results. In fact, on the global K-pop chart, BTS's Swim debuted high enough to land at number 2 among the new entries of the week. Which is wild, considering the level of competition happening globally right now. And yet BTS still managed to cut through the noise immediately. Again, because that's what legends do. And maybe that's the most incredible part of all this. It's not just that BTS is successful. It's not just that they're loved. It's that after all this time, after years of records, after solo projects, after military service chapters, after every headline, every expectation, every can they still do it conversation, they return and somehow still manage to feel fresh, relevant, and completely in control. That's rare. Extremely rare. Most artists struggle to recapture momentum. BTS, they return and create an entirely new wave. And Jimin's role in that wave feels especially unforgettable right now, because he represents so much of what fans are emotionally connecting to in this moment. The warmth, the charm, the artistry, the familiarity, the emotional pull. He can make fans laugh during a silly name joke on a talk show, and then, minutes later, make them stare at the screen in complete silence during a performance. That duality is powerful, and it's one of the reasons people remain so drawn to him, not just as a performer, but as a presence. So when you put all of this together, the Fallon reunion, the Jimin Jimmy chemistry, the callbacks to older iconic moments, the museum stage elegance, the flawless performance, the chart sweep, the millions of albums sold, the social media dominance, the global momentum, you start to realize something very quickly. This wasn't just a comeback week. This was a reminder. A reminder that BTS still knows exactly how to create moments people talk about, exactly how to make a stage feel historic, exactly how to make the industry stop and pay attention, and exactly how to make fans feel like they're witnessing something special in real time. Because whether it's a soft smile from Jimin on a late-night show, or a 5-award sweep on the charts, the message is the same. BTS is not just back, they are fully in motion. And if this is only the beginning of the ARIRANG era, then honestly the rest of the world better get ready, because this comeback is already swimming straight into history.